welcome to my first video in this series where I discuss things that I like. So you could probably already gather, this first one's going to be talking about Five Nights at Freddy's 1. Originally my idea was to talk about the franchise as a whole, but I figured I'd have too much to say, so I decided to do individual videos for each game. To keep everything a bit organized, I plan to break each of these videos up into different sections, where I'll talk about different aspects of the game, wrap it up at the end with my overall thoughts on the game, and then maybe just give a little postscript final word. So the first part of this game that I want to talk about is its characters. But before I get into talking about individual characters, I just want to say that this game easily has some of, if not, my favorite designs from Scott. They really feel like animatronics that you might find at a pizzeria chain, but they still look creepy enough to feel like an actual threat. Those few moments where you can see a glimpse of life is just the icing on the cake. Okay, first up, as you could probably guess, Freddy Fazbear. Personally, I don't have too much to say about his design since most of the time he's just seen through the shine in his eyes. Though, I think this works in his favor. It shows an almost intelligent side to him, that he knows to hide while still keeping an eye on his prey. Moreover, I love the fact that Scott just kind of put a handprint on him. It's a nice subtle clue that something else was going on. Next, I'm going to talk about Bonnie. He's a big purple or blue rabbit. Personally, I think he looks purple, but a lot of people say they see him as blue, so I'll take their word. And he's the lead guitarist for the band. Where his design shines through the most is how he's used. Bonnie has a lot of moments where he either very subtly or extremely blatantly stares at the camera, giving you this sense that he's more aware than what the game wants you to believe. Almost like he's staring right at you through the screen. Okay, so next up is Chica. This might be surprising, but Chica probably has my favorite design of the first game. Her sunken-in eyes and deep beak almost give off a sort of corpse vibe. She always looks just a little less than alive, in a different way than an animatronic should. Not like it's trying to imitate life, but like it was alive, and now it's not. It's something dead, pretending to be alive. It especially shines through in these two particular images, that put the pictures up on the screen. Foxy. He's the least creepy of all the animatronics to me, but that's not to say that I don't love his design. As you probably know, Foxy in most games is depicted to be broken or damaged in some way. This trend started with the very first design. The bottom half of his legs are completely torn off, revealing the endoskeleton beneath. The same goes with his hand, the non-hook one, I mean. And he has tears all along his upper body. And I really like the idea that all these tears and rips are self-inflicted as the spirit tries to escape its robotic body. And last, but certainly not least, Golden Freddy. Easily the most mysterious of all the animatronics. He can appear in your office even if both doors are shut, but only if you encounter a rare screen with a Golden Freddy poster. His appearance is the same as Freddy, but, well, golden. It doesn't appear to have an endoskeleton, and is believed to have ghost-like abilities, hence being able to go through the closed doors. Oh, you thought I was done? No. Next we gotta talk about Phone Guy. While he doesn't have an actual design we can look at, I still think he is just as important in this game. He's our one friendly voice in this hell of a pizzeria, and he helps guide us through each night as things get harder and harder, which means it's all the scarier when he's taken away. And that brings me into atmosphere. I really love the atmosphere this game presents. It's not just an empty pizzeria. There are cobwebs and wires hanging from the ceilings. If it wasn't for the voice on the phone reminding you why you were there in the first place, you could easily mistake the place for being completely shut down. And this might just be me, but whenever I play the first game, I get this uncanny feeling. The kind you get from standing inside an empty mall. Like it was some sort of liminal space. It was supposed to be alive, full of children running around, playing games. But it's not. It's quiet. It's dark. You're alone, except for the furries and that guy on the phone, but once that line clicks, it's just you and 4 robots who, despite clearly not being so, almost seem alive, which only adds to the uncanny feeling I get. But that's not all when it comes to the atmosphere. There are random Easter eggs and rare screens that add just a hint of the supernatural to the already off-putting vibes. These range from a poster of Freddy changing to show him tearing his own head off, to posters of crying children on the wall, which leave me filled with dread. There's also a rules poster that occasionally changes to one of, I believe, 4 different newspaper articles, which leads me to my next topic. The story in the first game isn't anything too special. Seeing as this was meant to be Scott's last game, he didn't put much in terms of lore. There are the 4 newspaper articles which tell the story of 5 kids who had gone missing in Freddy Fazbear's. A suspect was caught, but since the bodies were never found, he couldn't be convicted. And the foul odor and general unpopularity of the restaurant leads to it shutting down. A simple enough story that's hidden just deep enough to go overlooked, but still present enough that almost anyone could find it. I think it was perfect for the first game. It really wouldn't be as great as it was if it was bogged down by mini-games, multiple endings, and as an introduction to the story, I think it works very well. But how about as an introduction to the gameplay? Well, I think it does a pretty good job of this too. It introduces the basic formula that we will see in almost every game in the future. You're stuck in your room for 6 hours trying to keep the animatronics out for 5 nights a week, as well as 2 of the extra nights, the 6th night, which is extremely difficult, as well as the 7th custom night, where you can change the difficulty of the animatronics. In the first game, your only real defense against the animatronics are your doors, but you can't keep them closed the whole night. You have to make sure you don't run out of power, otherwise, well, it's lights out. God, that was a stupid fucking joke. But this balance between the power, lights, doors, and cameras would go on to shape most of the games from here on out. And that brings me to the end of this video. Overall, I'd have to say Five Nights at Freddy's would not be the franchise it is today without this game. It really sets the tone for the early installments, as well as introducing, but not overwhelming you with both the story and the gameplay that would shape the games moving forward. If I had to describe this game in just a few words, it would be an uncanny, dreadful masterpiece of an introduction. So I'm recording this postscript a few days after recording the actual script, in order to just touch up on a few things I feel like I forgot to talk about. When I was writing the script, I was just kind of talking about what came to mind as it came to mind, and I feel like I neglected a few things, the most important being the audio in this game. I feel like the music is very important when it comes to setting the tone in this game. It's got a very nice atmospheric feel to it, as well as some of the other various noises you can hear in the background, like the carousel or Foxy's humming. They all play a pretty important role in, well, the atmosphere, as well as some of the posters throughout the, restaurant and just other things you can see with the way the animatronics look at you. There's really a lot to this game, and I feel like this video doesn't do it entirely justice, but I'm still probably going to keep it the way it is just because, well, that's still how I feel about the game, even if I might think in retrospect that I didn't say enough. That's probably going to be all for this video. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you tune into the next one.